Howdy there, Pastor Karen here, and today we're going to take a look at Psalm 91. It talks about us being underneath of God's wings, under his feathers for protection. And this psalm helps us to know that in the face of bad times or turbulent times or crisis in our life, that we can turn to God for protection and for strength. Hang with me. Let's do this. Well, hey, we're going to look at Psalm 91 this morning, and I invite you to open a window with the Bible app in it, or hear as I read Psalm 91, or find that Bible that's tucked away in the bookcase or on the bedside table and open it up and read with me. A lot of us learn by not only hearing, but by seeing and by experiencing. And so if you read along with me, you have a double chance of absorbing the message and the beauty of the scripture. So let's read together Psalm 91. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely he will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. If you make the Most High your dwelling, even the Lord, who is my refuge, then no harm will befall you, no disaster will come near your tent. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. You will tread upon the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and the serpent. Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. He will call upon me, and I will acknowledge him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. What a beautiful psalm. I encourage you to read it over and contemplate it more after this YouTube video is over. And I encourage you to read it in a more neutral tone than I have read it right here. I've used the male pronoun he and him to refer to the person who's being protected and cared for by God. But it is not meant for males alone. It is meant for all God's people. And we know that God loves each of us. So even though the male pronoun is used here, we can amplify the scripture to understand that it is meant for all of us. However we are born, however we are now, we are loved by God. And this psalm is talking to us. So over the many years, over the thousands of years since this psalm was written, it's been called an oracle of encouragement. It's been called a trust song. It's been described as a way for us to know the security of God's love and strength. And all these things are very true. It's also been called a song for evil encounters. So this is something that the church, Christian church, and the Jewish people have turned to for many, many, many years for comfort, for encouragement. And I love it for all of the word pictures it gives us about how God is going to protect and help us, and how we can perceive ourselves in relationship to our great God. As we look at the psalm we'll just go from beginning to end. We see that if we dwell in the shelter of the Most High, then we can say God is our refuge and fortress. That's a bunch of words we don't usually use. But if we live believing that God is our protector, then indeed we will say that to people, and indeed He will protect us. He gives us the image in this psalm that we are under God's wings. He will cover us with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. Well, we see this image of under God's wings in the book of Ruth as well. And I have these two beautiful, gigantic feathers today. And they were from, believe it or not, an antique, vintage, we could say, hat. And I took them off of the how they were held, and I actually washed them because they were very dusty and just completely gray. And you can see that their original color is a beautiful white, just tinged with a little bit of gray. And I can hardly imagine this on a hat, but indeed, what a wonderful thing it would have been. But more than on a hat, I wanted to show these feathers just to give you that examples of being under God's wings. You know, if you were under God's wings, those wings would be really, really large, and you'd be well protected, far bigger than this feather here. But it gives you that image, under God's wings, under the feathers, being protected. That's a good image to keep in your mind. It might look a little silly when I do it, but you can imagine God's great wings. Now, I'm not saying that God is a bird, not at all, but I'm saying that image is helpful to picture ourselves under the wings. In fact, we know that birds, we know that even chickens will protect their young by putting their feathers, their wings over them to protect them. And so we also have that image in our mind from nature, that the little hens and chicks and little birds are enveloped underneath the wings of the mother chick. And that can be very comforting. It talks about here in the psalm some problems, terror of the night, the arrow that flies by day, sort of man-made problems, we could say. And then it also mentions the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, or the plague that destroys at midday. Wow, that sounds like illness, doesn't it? It sounds like a sickness, a virus. I don't know. But it reminds us of how close we are at any moment to that problem in our life, to that illness in our life, to that fear of something bad happening. And that for thousands of years, people have worried about this. And I would say, even from the beginning, people have worried about these things. So this psalm is meant to comfort and reassure all humans. It almost has a first and second stanza. Although the authorities don't exactly put it that way, they think it might have been antiphonal, and we would call that today a responsive reading. Verses 1 and 2 would be one voice, verses 3 and 4 would be another voice, and then perhaps they would read together, and then another round of one voice reading and a second voice reading. And so we could see it in that way when we look at the beginning of verse 9, where it duplicates what's in verse 1. If you make the Most High your dwelling, even the Lord, who is my refuge, then no harm will befall you, no disaster will come near your tent. Well, I don't live in a tent, and you probably don't either, unless you're out camping this weekend. But it gives us that image of a coziness, of an enclosed space, of a place that can be defended. And here again, just with the image of under God's wings, we have the idea of being under a tent, in a safe place where God can protect us. And then we get another wonderful image here. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. So we know that angels don't act independently. Angels do God's bidding. When they are protecting, when they are helping, when they are present in our world doing things, even though we don't see them, maybe out of the corner of your eye, you see a movement and wonder what it is. Could it be an angel? It might be. When I've taught about angels and the Christian perspective of angels, it's been a fascinating course. And I have a great curriculum to use for that. And every time I use it, I ask the studiers, tell me, do you believe that we have guardian angels? Do you believe there are angels around us? And the vote is overwhelmingly, yes, we believe in guardian angels. We believe there are angels around us. And that's not really the best way to do theology all the time, but I ask that question because I want to know in theology, the people who are taking the class and what their hearts say. And our hearts tell us that angels are around us and angels do help us, and God sends them to help protect us. And I get goosebumps just talking about that. And I wonder if there's times in your life when you can point to knowing that an angel that God sent has been helping you. And we get that image here, that reassurance that yes, indeed, angels are with us, helping us, doing God's bidding to protect us. I hope that's reassuring to you in thinking about God's provision for helping to take care of us. Well, the last few verses of this psalm, verses 14 and 15 and 16, are God speaking to us. God says, because you love me, I'll rescue you. I'll protect you because you acknowledge me. You believe in me. When you ask me, I'll answer. I'll be with you in trouble, and I will deliver you. Isn't that wonderful? God's message to us. When we read the whole psalm, sometimes we don't separate out those last 3 verses. But I encourage you to take a look at that and realize that it's God speaking to us, saying, hey, you believe in me, you acknowledge me, you call on my name, and this is what I will do. I will protect you. I will be with you. And that's God's promise all the time. Not that it's always going to be great in our lives, not that it's always going to be terrible in our lives, but whatever life brings, God's going to be with us in it. We have these beautiful images of being protected from illness and problems of the world, being under God's wings, and being sustained and encouraged by God's angels. In all these ways, God means to help us, to shelter us, just as if we're in a tent and God is protecting it and sending his angels to do the same. It's a psalm of encouragement. It's a psalm of hope. It's a psalm of knowledge, knowing in our hearts that God is loving us, protecting us, giving us strength, and showing us how much he cares for each of us all the time. I hope you like this psalm. I hope you'll return to it and read it some more and really absorb the richness of the words and the beauty of the form of the psalm and just the magnificence of God's holy word. We ought to read the Psalms more because they're a beautiful songbook of the church now, in the future, and in the past. Praise be to God for this glorious book of Psalms centered in the Holy Bible, which gives us encouragement and gives us direction for our lives. I hope this directs your life this week. I hope you have a great week. Let's do this again next Sunday. God bless.